Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2, has choose topic 2 in Physics 1, which is motion in one dimension. So, I am AHNAF Daniel bin Muhammad KAMEL. We'll start a presentation. Alright, so what is the difference between speed and velocity? Speed is a rate of change in distance. Meanwhile, velocity is a rate of change of the displacement. Formula for the speed is V equal to D over time, which is speed is equal to distance traveled equal to time taken. Or average speed is a total distance traveled divided by elapsed time. Alright, for the velocity, V equal to S over T, or velocity equal to displacement over time taken, or K. So for the velocity, we use displacement, and for the speed, we use distance. So for the displacement is the vector quantity, as the displacement is vector quantity, so the velocity is also the vector quantity. Because of what? Because of it has a magnitude and also direction. It can be positive, negative, and zero. Okay, for average velocity, a particle's displacements divided by time interval during which displacement occur. Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I would like to teach about 2.4 analysis model approach to problem solving. So first let us analyze this question. So the information given from the question, first we know that by the word at a constant rate, so the velocity is constant. So when velocity is constant, the acceleration is equal to 0, and the delta x is equal to 20 meter. So why it is actually positive? Because we assume that the runner is moving to the right, and of course the delta t is equal to 4.0 seconds. Okay, by the information we can answer this question. So first question A, what is the velocity of the runner? So the formula velocity is distance over time. So Vx is equal to delta x over delta t, which also equal to x final minus x initial over delta time. So we just substitute the value 20 minus 10 over 4 seconds, and we got 5.0 meter per second.
Since the acceleration is also the vector quantity, so will be a positive acceleration, negative acceleration, and zero acceleration. The positive acceleration is when the acceleration and the velocity moving in the same direction. The object is said speeding up, but the negative acceleration is when the acceleration and the velocity moving in the opposite direction. The object is slowing down. When the velocity and the acceleration moving in a negative direction, the object is said to be speeding up in a negative direction. So there is another one, which is zero acceleration. Zero acceleration means there is no net change in the velocity or the constant velocity, and it could also means the object is not moving at all. So the object having zero acceleration.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now let's moving on to 2.6 motion diagram. So in 2.6 we will look at the motion of an object, which will be indicated by an arrow. So for the first picture here, we got the car and an arrow. So as you can see, the distance of the arrow is actually distance over the time. So when the distance of the arrow, when the length of the arrow is same, we can conclude that it is actually constant velocity. So the car here is moving at constant velocity. So the next picture here, we can see that the length of the arrow is actually increasing over the time. So when the length is increasing, we can conclude that the car here is actually undergoes acceleration. So the car here accelerate. So for the third picture, we'll see that the length of the arrow is decreasing over the time. So when the length is decreasing, we can conclude that the car is actually decelerate.
So we continue with topic 258, free fall. Idealized case, no air resistant free fall motion. Magnitude of free fall, acceleration due to gravity in the earth by symbol G. At Earth surface, the value of G we assume is 9.8 meter per second square. Motion in vertical direction. So free falling is only happen in y direction. Acceleration downward with magnitude 9.8 meter per second square. And choose AY or G is equal to negative 9.8 meter per second square. So to enhance our knowledge in free falling, I will give you one example. Deadpool dropped from a height of 55 meter. Find the time it takes for him to reach the ground. Assume the G acceleration is 10 meter per second. So we already have the information about the height acceleration, but we don't know about the U. Height that they give us is 45, acceleration is 10 meter per second, but we must know about one hidden information. The hidden information is initial velocity, which is 0. Why 0? Because before Deadpool fall from the head, he was in rest condition. So we assume the initial velocity of Deadpool is 0. So we use the equation S is equal to U times T plus half AT square. So we just enter the value. S is 45 is equal to U times T. Because of U is 0, so 0 times T, we can get the value 0. So we can negate by it. And 1/2 times with 10 times with T square. So we get 9 is equal to T square. So we just wrote the T and the 9, and we can get the value of T is 3 seconds. So you can use the equation based on the information question give you. So that was from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For the moral value, kinematic motion is a concept in physics that relates to the study of motion, including the relationship between position, velocity, acceleration, and time. While kinematic motion is not directly related to Islam, there are some connections that can be drawn between the two. One example is the concept of qadar in Islam, which refers to the divine predestination. According to Islam belief, Allah has predetermined the fate of every individual, including their action and movement. However, this does not mean that individuals do not have free will or control over their own choices. Rather, they are accountable for their action and choices and will be judged based on them in the hereafter.